Barry, welcome to the show.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Now, you go. How can I make the categorical statement that all the thousands, maybe even tens of thousands of people that are going to be listening to this podcast worldwide are all good-looking? Because by definition, if they tuned in to listen to you and Tribesmen, that means they're always looking for and finding the good. That's a definition of a good-looking person, looking for and finding the good in life.
So I'm a good-looking person. I can say that now.
You be good looking. Whether they're listening or watching, I can tell you, Yigal is a good looking person, physically, mentally, spiritually.
Thank you, sir. Likewise. And I found you, I think it was on LinkedIn. Somebody shared a post, and just the joy, right? Just the energy that you had attracted me to you. And so I started listening to podcasts that you were on, watching videos and listening to your story. And obviously I mentioned your story in the intro of the show, but tell us a little bit how you came to be this man of joy. We talk about smiling a lot, these positive thoughts, and how you got over something that was very crippling in essence, and now are swimming 2 miles a day, 6 days a week.
Okay, well, that's a lot to unpack in the next 28 hours, but we're going to make it a little bit shorter. So let's just start at the beginning when I was about 10 years old, because really where the story begins. And I will not belabor the point, but I'm going to share with everybody something that is important to understand about the dynamic of the human condition. And that is what happens with you, to you, and for you when you're in your formative years, which I call 6 to 12. In those formative years, those are things that really help shape your outlook on life. Now, God willing, that outlook is positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. But even if it was not, if it was untoward, there were things happening, you can use what happened in your youth as a springboard to success. So I'm going to discuss, first of all, the 3 fundamentals of life. And these are critical to understanding that with these 3 fundamentals of life, you will become happier, healthier, and wealthier. And who doesn't want that, Yigal, right? Happier, healthier, and wealthier. So what are the 3 fundamentals? Number 1, life, your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, you can go mad. Now, that's a great acronym that stands for make a difference. You lead a purpose-driven life, you make a difference in the world. And the 3rd fundamental is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. For instance, right now, this wonderful podcast is being carried around the world on the internet, right? People all over the world can listen wherever they are. If you ask anybody, pardon me, what does www stand for? Invariably, they're tied to the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, Yigal, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, www stands for what a wonderful world. And whata is a word, W-H-A-T-A. And whenever you hear the opening bars of that song, What a Wonderful World by Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, who enabled the song to go viral, not just touch tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. What do you do right away when you hear that song? You smile. You can't help it because it touches the very being. Now, smile is one of the most important words you could ever integrate, utilize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. And I'll tell you, thank God we're back, and I'm doing live presentations these days. The last one I did was, we had 1,176 people.
Wow.
Nice audience size. People come, they want to hear the story about Barry Shore, they want to get inspired and all that sort of stuff. And I'm talking about seeing miracles in life every day. And people raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours already. I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you stand still? I can't do that. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink? Do you have food to eat? Do you have a place to sleep? Do you have family? Do you have friends? Every single one of those, Yigal, is a miracle. And what's the proof? Simple as proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're listening to this or you're watching, guess what? You're alive. You now have an obligation as part of the tribe that is the motivating, energizing force of the Jew, We are the givers of the world. We are the thankers of the world. We have an obligation to live exuberantly, no matter your circumstances. Let's talk about a quick story, because you asked me what's going on. I'm going to tell you recent history in my life. I'm 74 chronologically now. So this happened 18 years ago, September 17th, 2004. And since we're speaking amongst us, I can tell you it was the second day of Rosh Hashanah that year, second day leading into Shabbat. So I had just come back with my 17-year-old son from Israel. We were there for 5 weeks. We came back about 5-6 days before Rosh Hashanah, and still feeling a little bit weary from the trip, but very energized. In shul on the second day, first day also, of course, and standing up. And I came home. I was a little tired, so I said to my wife, I'm going to have very little, not much for Sauda, lay down, take a nap, go back to shul for Shabbat, lay down, little nap, woke up, stood up, and fell down to the ground. I said, huh? Well, that was unusual. I've not fallen down before, almost fainted, got up, managed to get dressed, walked to the front of the house, sat in a chair, and never moved again.
Oh,
never moved. I literally couldn't move. Imagine sitting in a chair and you can't move. I called my son, Ezra. I said, Ezra, Papa can't move. What do you mean you can't move? I can't move. Please go to shul and find Dr. Kars. He's a close friend. He's a cardiologist, and ask him to come here. So he comes over and he looks at me and he says, Ephraim, that's my Hebrew name. You don't look so good. He has a funny sense of humor. And he says, what's going on? I said, I can't move. So he calls his brother. Remember, Rosh Hashanah. He calls his brother, Dr. Kars, who's my primary care physician, and tells him what's going on. Dr. Kars says, get him to the hospital. Now, you're going to go back 18 years, no Uber. So he had to call a taxi. What happened? Ezra went to the shul, got the Rabbi Hollander. Rabbi Hollander called the taxi on Rosh Hashanah and said, come over, pick him up. It took 2 men and my son to pick me up, get me in the taxi. I told my wife, I'm sure I'll be home after Shabbos. Hello, nobody's paralyzed like that, right? In a matter of an hour or two. Okay, 144 days later, I came home. I was 144 days in the hospital, completely paralyzed. In the first few days, all I could do to communicate was blink my eyes. Wow. I was in a hospital bed in my own home for 2 years. I couldn't turn over by myself. I was in a wheelchair for 4 years. I had braces on both my legs, my hips to my ankles. That was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand. So I'm a triped, not a biped. I can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. I have help 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, pleasant. It's all because of this one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. And I do see miracles because remember, I was completely, totally paralyzed for years. Now, as Yigal mentioned, I swim now, but we'll go talk about that at the moment. But suffice it to say, for more than 2 years, all I was doing was visualizing me sitting up and putting my feet over the side of the bed. That was my big accomplishment. That was my visualization. It wasn't, I'm going to run a marathon. I'm going to swim. I'm going to do that. I wanted to be able to sit up and put my feet over the side of the bed. And thank God, it took 2 years, but I did it. And I've been using prayer, therapy, and love for these ensuing years to maintain myself and keep myself going and such. But I want to now harken back to what we talked about. You asked a big question. It started when I was 10 years old. I was very, very fortunate. I had a wonderful, loving family. I'm the oldest. Firstborn Jewish boy. Hello.
That's spoiled.
2 younger sisters. My mother loved me. They say worship, but we don't go there. Loved me, Father tolerated me. But anyway, great guy. And we grew up in a place called Boston, Massachusetts, actually Brookline, Massachusetts. So if you Google it on a map, Massachusetts is in New England. And I can tell you something, in the wintertime, it gets cold and snowy. And again, you have to harken back, I was 10 years old. So 65, almost 65 years ago. Forget the internet and anything like that. But when it snowed a lot, like 6, 7, 8, 10, 12 inches, no school. You heard it on the radio. So what would happen? No school. What do you think you're going to do? You're going to go back to bed? You're going to just sit and watch your television? No, are you kidding me? I said, wow, look what I can do. I can go out and shovel snow and make money. Because I got an allowance, 25 cents a week. Okay, it was enough to do something because, things were inexpensive 60 years ago. But I could go out bundle up, with 3 layers of clothes, gloves, earmuffs, and a shovel and boots and all that sort of stuff, and go knocking door to door and learn the most essential business lessons of life. What are they? Number one, to be able to knock on somebody's door, even though they're neighbors, and say, hey, I'd like to shovel your walk and shovel your driveway. Okay, well, you're going to get paid for that. So the person says, how much? So now I have to quote a price. I have to value my time. And let's say I wanted $10, which I did, and this person only want to pay $7. Well, now he's expecting I'm going to come down to 9 or 8. I said, the next great life lesson in business is one of the most important you'll ever learn. Ready? How to walk away and say no. Mm-hmm. So I wanted 10. He says 7. I thought about it. I said, thank you, Mr. So-and-so. No, and I started walking away. And guess what? Usually within 2 or 3 steps, oh, come on, Barry, come back. Okay, fine. So I would shovel 5, maybe 6, because there's a lot of work and it takes a lot of time. I can make $50 in a day for a 10-year-old kid who's getting 25 cents a week in allowance. Yeah. But here's where it gets really good. Here's what gets really fun. I learned how to leverage. What is leverage? Leverage is utilizing other people's energy so everybody wins. Everybody wins. So now I recognize, I know I'm not afraid to knock on people's doors, quarter price, such like that. I have friends, 4 or 5 friends. They didn't want to go out and talk to people and knock on doors. And so I would get the jobs and I say, look, I'll split it with you 80-20, right? If we get $10, you get 8, I get 2, you do the work and just show up and shovel. You don't have to talk to anybody and do anything. So guess what? I'm now making an override, right? That's what we call it. 20% override on people's work. And they're doing great. They're shoveling each 5 or so. So they're making $40. I make an extra $10. And you got 4 or 5 people. So I'm making an extra 40. Sometimes I can make $100 in a day for a 10 or 11 or 12-year-old. Hello. So look at all these life lessons you can learn when you're young. The ability to speak to people, to not be afraid. The ability to value your time, because that's really what you're doing in business. You're valuing your time. You're selling widgets and they sell for X. Well, you may have to sell 1 million of them to make money, or you may have to sell only 1 or 2 to make money. But how do you value your time? Your skill in the ability to communicate, the ability to recognize when to sell, when to not sell. The person says yes, don't keep talking, and the ability to say no. And no, I can tell you, you go, is far more powerful sometimes than yes. I mean, you've experienced this, right?
Yeah.
So the ability for me and the tender ages of 10, 11, and 12, with the encouragement of my parents and such like that, going out, I reveled when it snowed. Okay, it only happened once or twice in the course of the winter, but I also had another job. And this is critical, what I'm going to tell you now. This works for everybody. I don't care if you're 12 years old, 21, 31, 51, even 71. These lessons will help you. I sold newspapers with a scorecard on the front at Fenway Park. Now, if you're in America and you never heard of Fenway Park, there's something wrong with you. Fenway Park is the home of the Boston Red Sox. What was it called today? Red Sox Nation. Yeah. Now, when I was growing up, we loved the Red Sox, but they weren't so much the powerhouse that they are oftentimes today. But suffice to say, I got one of the greatest jobs in the history of kids. I got to sell these scorecards out front and outside of Fenway Park. They can make money. So I'm going to tell you the insight, because this is truly amazing. I'm selling these scorecards for 8 cents. I mean, remember, got a long time ago, 8 cents. And oftentimes people, of course, will give you a dime, so you make 2 cents extra, but you're talking pennies. So I'm standing at this corner, it happens to be called Vanessa. And near me, within about 3 meters or so, is this really interesting man, old man. Now, I'm saying old. He was probably my age at the time, right? So reverse the roles. I'm 12 years old, 13, and he's probably 65, 70. Wizened old black man. I mean, it's just out of the movies. And in front of him is this huge platform, maybe 6 feet long and 4 feet wide, filled with roasted peanuts. And he has them in bags, and he's selling peanuts. And he says to me, "Hey, kid, come over here." So I came over and said, "Yes, sir," because that's how I was trained, right? "Yes, sir." To anybody older than you. He says, "Let me hear how you sell your stuff." And I would say, okay, hey, get your scorecards here. Get your scorecards. 8 cents here. Get your scorecards. He said, okay, you got a good voice. You're not afraid to talk. And interesting. How much do they cost in the ballpark? And I said, 25 cents. So he says, well, why don't you show people the value? You hear what he said? Say 8 cents here, 25 in the ballpark. I said, okay. So do it again. Hey, get your scorecard. Say 8 cents here, 25 in the ballpark. 8 cents here, 25 in the ballpark. So that's good. He said, listen to me. Watch what I do. Ready? Peanuts a dime, 3 for a quarter, 15 in the ballpark. Peanuts a dime, 3 for a quarter, 15 in the ballpark. Wow. I learned a lesson, an amazing lesson. So now I was always good at selling the scorecards, but now I'm selling lots of scorecards.
Nice.
And I'm making, all right, but I'm making somewhere around $14 to $16 a game for a couple hours. But I'm selling it at 30, 40 games, in the course of the season. And guess what? I'm a 12, 13-year-old kid. So I know all the guards at the gates, and they would let me in to see the games for free. Awesome. So I got to see the games. My friend, his name was Elijah. Hello, I like that. Eliyahu. Mm-hmm. That was my Elijah. He became a great buddy. And we learned many lessons from Elijah. How to be humble, how to sell, how to give value, how to announce the value to the world. And my father then taught me something of amazing import. I had a scorecard with the newspaper, right? You go. Mm-hmm. So you're going to get it here. You're going to get outside. You give me 8 cents. You give me a dime. Okay, a couple extra pennies for the kid. And they go in. But guess what? How do you keep score? What do you need? You need a pencil or a pen.
Something
so my
right
father
with.
said, hey, everybody's been to a miniature golf course or a golf course. You have those tiny pencils.
Yeah.
Well, he said, let's go out. We bought several dozen long pencils, cut them in half and sharpen them. So now you had 2 small ones. So each pencil used to cost 2 cents for the whole pencil. Cut it in half. I sold it for a nickel a piece. It made 10 cents. So nice. We took something worth 2 cents and sold it for 10 cents. But that wasn't even the great insight. The great insight was that the people I sold it to for the nickel, they said, wow, this is great. So they give me 15 cents for the paper and the pencil, and they loved it. Why? Because I was giving greater value. I was helping. I was sharing. I learned the most essential aspect of the word business, because that's what you're in, right? Yep. You're in business. And I hope everybody that's listening is in some kind of business. You ready for this? How do you spell business? B-U-S-I-N-E-S-S, right?
Yep.
Guess what? The U comes before the I.
Mm.
When you have in mind, what's the value for the other person? What can I give to you? How can I benefit you? The I certainly gets rewarded. That's the essence of business. I learned that when I was a kid.
Amazing. And I've got a question because I missed something here because I'm taking notes as everybody should be. You talked about the 3 things is one is have purpose in your life, right? Going
Second
back.
One is go
Second
mad.
What was it?
Go mad. Go make
mad.
A difference. Right.
Make a difference, and then power of words.
If you lead a purpose-driven life, you'll go mad. You'll make a difference in life.
And then the power of the words, right?
Power, right. Unlock the power in the sequence of everyday words and terms.
So growing up, you had a great life, learned incredible lessons from Elijah on business and value. And you went into your life and you were in Boston growing up. What line of work were you in?
So I was a very good student in school. Hello, Jewish, basic Jewish overachiever. I was on the wrestling team, just doing stuff. I went to university, and I'm here to tell everybody I was a college dropout.
Right here with you.
Yeah. I dropped out of college after the 3rd year. I said, this is not for me. Okay, why am I really here? I'm really here because, well, that's what you do after high school. Jews go to college, right? But it didn't grab me. So I left. And I am happy to tell you, I went abroad. I got a one-way ticket to Europe. You could do that in those days. Mm-hmm. Got a one-way ticket to Europe, and I lived in a place called Amsterdam for 3 years. Mm. Now, when I was in Amsterdam in the late 60s, early 70s, yes, I was a hippie. I was the essence of hippie, joy, happiness, peace, and love, and lived there for years. And it was quite amazing. Travel all over Europe in a minivan, minivan, you know, it was Volkswagen microbus and everything. We had friends. We lived in a basic commune in Amsterdam, and wonderful stuff. And then we supported ourselves by making things out of rugs. So in those days in Amsterdam, these were original flea markets. And we used to buy old rugs. Imagine a rug, let's say that by 8 feet by 12 feet. And they had stains and all kinds of things in it. So you buy it for $3. And we brought it back. And again, we lived in a community, had some very nice ladies and all kinds of people. And we would cut out around it and shape them and make carpet pillows that you could sit on the floor. You stuff it with, you know, foam rubber. We made carpet bags and carpet coats. I mean, these were really cool stuff. I mean, I was so cool. I was so hip that I probably wouldn't even hang around with me. That's how hip I was, you know. And I said, wait a minute. Okay, I'm going to go back to Boston where I was. And I opened up a store on a place called Newbury Street. So anybody who's ever been to Boston knows that Newbury Street is the most exclusive shopping street in the city. It's the Rodeo Drive of Boston. And I opened up a very small store. It was called Fred. You ready for this? Fred, F-R-E-D. We had a camel on the outside hanging, and it's tiny. It was not even 600 square feet, but filled with all kinds of great stuff. I brought back container loads of these rugs, and I hired people, and we started making our stuff there. And it got written up in Boston Magazine, and it was the whole time this is early 70s. This was the time of boutiques in cities around the country. And I got written up, as I said, and we got invited to the boutique show in New York. And we said, okay, we'll go. We obviously pay for a booth, but we got orders from big stores like Bloomingdale's and places like that. So we're going to go to New York and show there and get lots of orders and make millions. I mean, everything that happens with business, right? Okay, so it was 1972. And it was mostly Shabbos. I wasn't observant at all at the time.
I was going to ask that. Were you observant back then?
Why don't you ask me? Ask me the question.
Were you observant back then or no?
I wasn't observant at all. You know, I wear kippah all the time. I am shomer, Shabbos and mitzvahs now, thank God, for over half a century. But at the time, I wasn't at all. I mean, I love being Jewish. Who doesn't like being Jewish, right? Yeah. You eat well, you have good family, you sing, so, you know, it's just nice, but I wasn't observant in any way. So here's where it gets really fun. We're driving from Boston to New York, which is, we call it going down to New York. You're driving in something called the New York Thruway, and we're a place called Westchester County, going 60 miles an hour. And I'm in a Volkswagen Beetle, no seatbelt in those days, by the way. And the head of my sewing department, she was in the car behind me, filled with all kinds of stuff for hours. And it's around 12:30, just after midnight. And somebody falls asleep at the wheel of the car, big Buick, hurtles across the median because there was nothing blocking it, and hits my Volkswagen Beetle head on.
Oh.
Yeah, more than ooh. I mean, more than ooh.
Yeah.
It was the fire people who got me out with the jaws of death kind of stuff. They didn't believe that a human could live because the Beetle was like an accordion, smashed. I saw it weeks later. But I did. I never lost consciousness, but my right femur, which is your thigh bone, the most difficult bone in the body to break and the strongest body, was smashed in many places. My leg was waving in the wind and such. They got me to a hospital. Now, thank God we were in Westchester County, very high-end, affluent area. They operated on me right away to save my life and save my leg and such like that. And there's new experimental material that just came out 6 months earlier that they put into my leg on titanium on either side of the bone and repositioned everything. And they put 10 screws in each plate. So I had 2 plates they were about 7 inches long or so with 20 screws. But they saved my leg, and they were picking glass out of my face for 3 days. But I'm happy to tell you, Meg, fast forward, you can see all this on my website, reading about my story and such. Yeah. Within 6 months, I was able to be weight bearing and walking. But it was all due to 3 words: prayer, therapy, and love. Again, I was not observant at the time, but prayer emanates as a natural gift from the human being when you're at the edge of life.
But
I had a near-death experience.
Let me ask you this question, Barry. Prayer, are you talking, and you weren't observant, like open the Siddur and pray, or like to myself, pray to God? What does that entail?
It was vocal.
Okay.
It was not to myself, but from my very essence.
Okay.
I was reaching out and asking HaKadosh Baruch Hu, even though I didn't say it like that, I need help. I need healing, please. I didn't know if I was going to walk again. I mean, I was at death's doorstep. Who knew if I could walk? I was involved in lots of therapy, oftentimes 3 hours a day. I was very friendly at the time when I went back. My parents took me in and allowed me to recuperate in their home with a fellow who was a master of hatha yoga. And I couldn't move anything on my body below my waist, nothing. But over the course of weeks and months, I was able to move a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. And again, within 6 months, I was weight bearing. I didn't limp. It took 2 more operations, one to take out 1 plate and 10 screws a year, and then the next year take out. But I was completely healed. I was completely healed, Yigal. Again, prayer, therapy, and the most difficult one, love. Not giving it. Oftentimes receiving lots of love is even more difficult than giving it. I love giving love, but receiving it sometimes, am I worthy? Well, I had to say, I'm worthy of being loved. So prayer, therapy, and love is what stood me in good stead until the next event, which was what, 1972, 28 years, almost 45 years later, when I was paralyzed overnight. I used the same formula.
Let me ask you this question, because I wrote down the word numb, because I think that a lot of people get numb to seeing the daily miracles. I say this on the podcast a lot. There's a book called Here I Am. Jewish psychologist, I forgot his name, he's going to be on the podcast, talks about seeing the small miracles in everyday life, the tree, the fact that you and I are on Zoom and you're in Las Vegas and I'm here. Like, nobody walks out of their car, closes the door and says, oh my God, I just traveled 30 minutes in this thing with 4 wheels on it to get to my destination. Oh, what a miracle, right?
Yes.
We get very numb to that. And you went through 2 traumatic events, the car crash and waking up paralyzed. One, sometimes people listening to this often say, like, well, I can see how you think this way because you did go through something like that. So the question is, do I have to go through something like that? I know the answer, but let's dive deep into that. And 2, did you sustain prayer, therapy, and love from traumatic event number 1 till the second one? And did it increase, stay the same? What happened after the second event?
Okay, so first of all, you're asking well, because I think you're asking for tens of thousands of people. Now, I'm going to urge everybody to understand, this podcast is not about Barry Shore. Great guy that he is. It's not even about Yigal. Wonderful fellow that he is. This podcast is about you. Y-O-U. The ability for you to become the best you possible, because you make a difference in the world. We need you. Matter of fact, the word joy, J-O-Y, stands for Journey of You. That's what this is about, to touch you. So I'm going to tell you a quick story. I told you, my 8-year-old niece comes over to me. Did I tell you this?
No.
My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago. She says, Uncle Barry. That's what she calls me. Can we spell smile, S-M-I-E-L? I thought about it. Smile, sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of an 8-year-old. Mipi olalim v'yonakin yisada ta'oz, right? You have a daughter, you have 3 daughters, thank God. Yes. One of them is 7 years old. The best ages for any human being is between 6 and 9. You don't want to get to double digits. Your whole mindset changes. By the way, mindset is a very important acronym that stands for meaningful insights nurturing destiny, that's mind,
Okay.
and set, success, engenders transformation. We're talking here about a shift in perspective, Yigal.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have been working with, thank God, many thousands of people over the decades, even before I had my paralysis. And I can tell you, 97.2% of all people, when I talk about shift perspective, for some reason they drop the F in shift and the other stuff happens. You got to be effing careful about your F's. You want to shift perspective, right?
Yeah.
That's the mindset. So let's go to your point. Even prior to the auto accident, was I already in a mindset of thinking good, acting good, speaking in good? Yes. Remember, I told you I was a hippie. The whole essence of being hippies, they think people just long hair. Okay, if you see me now, you say, did you have hair? Yes, I used to have long hair down to my shoulders. I was a real hippie. Okay, but what were hippies? Joy, happiness, peace, and love. Yes, sex, drugs, and rock and roll also, but it was built on joy, happiness, peace, and love. I wasn't able to articulate it as well as I am now, or when I was building my business before the auto accident, when I was living overseas, or after my accident, when because of stuff, I met somebody. Again, the whole genius of real life is being open to understanding that the good Lord sends us what we need.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that? I'm going to give you something right now, a huge gift. May I give you a huge gift?
Please.
Okay.
As long as it's nice in a nice bow. I like the nice bows.
You might even have a nice bow. Matter of fact, I think you may have to unwrap it a few times until you get it. But here we go. You ready?
Go for it.
I think everybody listening has heard of or knows the word paranoia.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
People talk about it. They even know it. What is paranoia? Something is not good is going to happen. Right? People get paranoid. I don't know. What is it? And they shrink. That's paranoia. Used to be a good song, Buffalo Springfield. Paranoia strikes deep into your heart. It will creep. It starts when you're always afraid. Step out of line, the man comes and takes you away. That's paranoia. People know that one. It's really little known is the opposite of paranoia. It's called pronoia. Right? Pronoia. Pronoia. What is pronoia? It's the knowledge, the understanding, the belief that everything is going your way. Everything is there for your benefit. That's what the good Lord wants for us. Everything is oilam chesed bona. The world is built on kindness. So the chore, the work of the human being is to become what I call a spiritual chiropractor. What's that? So everybody knows what a chiropractor is, right? Physically, if you're feeling a little out of sorts and you go to the chiropractor and he or she will go,
you can crack in the neck.
Yeah, and you crack it, and now you're in alignment, right? You feel like you can float because everything is good. Well, you want to become your own spiritual chiropractor. That means you want to have your thoughts in good, your speech in good, and your deeds in good. When you are aligned.
I want you to say those three again. I'm sorry.
You want to have your thoughts in good, your speech in good, and your deeds in good. So your thoughts, your words, and your deeds are in alignment. Now you're in pronoia. Now you're a channel, what I call a channel of goodness, a cog, or a child of God. And now that which needs to unfold in your life will. Everything is for your benefit. Everything. That's the Jewish way of approaching life. Tov me'od. That's the Jew. So you asked me about, say, after the auto situation, Did I increase my ability to see miracles in life? Without a doubt. How could I not? I
You
I
were
didn't
the
walk
miracle.
away, but I survived an accident that defies understanding. If you can imagine what a Volkswagen Beetle looks like and just collapse it into 6 inches, it's not possible. They said not possible to happen. And no seatbelt. 60 miles an hour, head-on collision. But not only did I survive, I was able to be weight bearing. I was able to walk. I didn't limp. Did I ever forget it? Maybe there was a moment or two sometime in my life, and from 1972 until the year 2014, which is a bit of time. That's 28 years, 38, 42 years. That's a long time. But I became, again, Shomer, Torah, and mitzvahs enabled me to become much more sensitive so that I wouldn't forget.
How so? I'd like to know. So you
Okay.
we talk about, good thoughts, speech, deeds, prayer, therapy, love. And right now what you basically say was when you became observant, or let's say you're doing more mitzvot, you were more sensitive to the daily miracles. What were you more sensitive to?
Absolutely. Let's take a look at something.
Sure.
So we say brachot very
Yep.
often.
Yes.
Baruch atah
We should be
Hashem
saying-
Elokeinu melech. Sorry?
We should be saying brachot more often.
We say brachot very often, but everybody knows Baruch atah Hashem Elokeinu melech asher kiddishanu b'mitzvosav. What is asher kiddishanu b'mitzvosav? So if you read it inside the English, you could read it that you have sanctified us in holiness. Well, those are very nice words, but what does it mean in the human condition? So for me, I worked with this for years, trying to take those words that are foreign, a little bit out there, and bring them internal. So for me, asher kiddishanu b'mitzvosav, it means that you have enabled me to be fresh and clean by following the ideals that you want. I love being fresh and clean. I have one of my cards that I have, which I'll be sending you, a joy package. Wonderful, you go.
Thank you.
It says, what does your face say? Everybody has a face. Hello? And our face is, in Hebrew, it's Reshus Harabim. It's public domain. So in my book, which is called The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy. By the way, may I announce, I hope you put in the notes, but I'm going to announce, please, we have the book for free.
Oh, amazing.
No cost. Okay. It's as the ebook. The ebook sells for $14.95. There's a couple that has underwritten the distribution of 100,000 copies of the book.
Wow.
Yes, $14.95. Because they love it. They believe in it. The book is called The Joy of Living, How to Slay Stress and Be Happy, 11 strategies for how to live in joy daily, no matter the circumstances. And I know from circumstances. So just go to www.whatawonderfulworld.barryshore, BARRYSHORE.com/ebook.
And we'll put that in the show notes.
And it's yours, no cost. Get it? By the way, taking action, this is so important. Well, we talked about business before. The sign of a winner, Yigal, is taking action. When you hear something of import that benefits you, because the whole world is built on this radio station, WII-FM, right? That's the most listened to radio station in the world.
Okay.
WII-FM.
Stands for?
In it for me.
Yeah.
What's in it for me? So when you understand that you hear something that's of benefit for you, like get the book at no cost, and the guy seems to be knowing what he's talking about, well, take action. Don't just say, I'll do that. Yeah. Because later is the first step to never. Do it now. So in the book, we talk about this, the ability to see miracles in life every day. So we talk about face. What is your face? Public domain. What does your face say? Face stands for fresh, aware, creative, expressive. I mean, your face is you. That you are is fresh. It's aware. Look at that smile with those beautiful teeth, creative and expressive. Hello, an amazing podcast, fantastic guest. Okay, thank you. But it's not about Barry Shore. It's not about Yikao. It's about you. You share this podcast with 5 of your friends. They don't have to be Jewish. Share this with 5 friends because this touches your very life. To be able to see miracles in everyday life, as my 8-year-old niece said, what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. And create stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Rethinking. Remember, shift your perspective. Keep the F in there.
Yep.
So I'm going to give you 6 words that when you use these 6 words, it will elevate your life. You ready?
Ready.
Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. How you choose to respond in any given situation really helps determine your destiny. Are you going to be angry, upset, disappointed? Your choice. You do that, you complain, you blame, you grumble, you lose. I'm telling you. Those are the aspects of a loser. You want to be a winner? Winner say, okay, didn't go the way I wanted. What do I do now? What do I do now? What action can I take in my life to do better? What can I do to be of more benefit in the world? Business, the you comes before the I. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny.
Love that. I have a question for you. And I'm sitting here thinking about this as you're speaking because I see you with so much energy. When I grew up, I was watching the Care Bears, and it's like your energy is like a Care Bear stare, right? It's just like, just coming out everywhere. When you went through, waking up and falling down, being paralyzed, there's people around you, and you have this positive, you made a choice, not chance determines your destiny. And, thinking, saying, and the deeds, and there's so much happiness and around you, right? The people around you might not be the same. So I'll give you an example. There are times where something happens and I might say, oh, it's okay. It's all right. And my wife might be like, what do you mean? She's angry about it. Or my brother, what do you mean? He did that to me. I say, who cares? I'm from Turkey. So we just said, kapara, like whatever. It's okay. It happens because it happens. Sometimes the brotherhood of the miserable starts to overlap the shine and stop wanting to stop the shine. Have you ever had people say, Barry, it's too much. Basta. Enough with this joy stuff. Let's be real. What do you say to that?
So first of all, I get that often from people who don't know how to live in joy daily. There are lots of people, wonderful Yigal, that live in paranoia. 98% of human beings are lazy, they don't care, and they're ignorant. I didn't say stupid, ignorant. What do I mean? People are lazy, by definition. All present company included. You get a little bit lazy sometimes. People are lazy. The key people that you see playing sports, or the Tony Robbins of the world, the shakers and the doers, you think they're lazy? Hello, they gave that up a long time ago. They made conscious decisions. They chose not to be lazy. That's the first step to great success. If you don't take that step, you won't. You might have a lot of stuff, but you won't be successful. Your mindset won't be there. Second thing is people don't care. They care about themselves, but only to a small extent. Okay, I'll take care of this now because it makes me feel good. But do you have enough caring about yourself to delay gratification for 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever it takes? People don't care. They care most about themselves, but they show that they don't even care about themselves. You got to shift your perspective in order to be a caring person. You know, the famous line, I don't care how much you know until I know how much you care. You teach people about real estate and managing business and such like that. Hey, you go. Until I know how much you care about me, I really don't care.
Yeah.
You know, are you just doing to sell books and to make money? Or do you really care about my success? And the third thing is people are ignorant. I didn't say stupid. Smart people. They got PhDs. They got this and this and that. But they're ignorant about the laws of life. The law of attraction. You want to get a lot of money? People like money. Okay. I happen to be, thank God, had a lot of money. I've lost a lot of money too. But I made a lot of money. I had a very wealthy uncle when I was growing up. And he liked me. He said to me, Barry, I got to tell you something. I know you're going to do well, but I need you to hear this and think about it and live with it. Money is a wonderful, wonderful servant, beautiful servant. It is a god-awful master. If you let money be the reason you're doing things, you're a slave. Rather than be a master, let it serve you, and it'll happen. That's the law of attraction. So people run after money, but they don't realize that money is called zuzim in Hebrew, right? Zuzim. Why is money called zuzim? Because it's always moving. Money never sleeps. It never stops.
Yeah.
If you run after it, you might get some. Yeah, okay. You want to attract money. The law of attraction is far more powerful. That's how you become the Musk of the world. You attract. Now, law stands for love and wisdom. You have to be practiced at love, both receiving and giving, and wisdom. Not being ignorant. You have to learn the law of attraction. I'm going to leave you with something wonderful, Yigal, that I think is going to, as they say in the vernacular, blow your mind. I want you to write down the word wealth.
Done.
How do you spell wealth?
W-E-A-L-T-H.
W-E-A-L-T-H. I want you to pick out the letters T-H-E from that word. And now what are you left with after you take out T-H-E? You have three letters. L-A-W. Wealth is built on the law. T-H-E stands for transformation happens easily when you understand the law, love, and wisdom. You want to attract wealth. You want to be happier, healthier, and wealthier? You lead a life of purpose. You go mad. You make a difference in the world. Unlock the power and the secrets of words, like paranoia. Everybody knows what it is. Well, now you know a new one. Pronoia. Make a shift in your world. Remember to pronounce that F. And you can embrace pronoia. So when people say, oh, come on, Barry, get real, I say, I am. Oh, this is real. What you live in is false, is phony, it's fake, because you've not taken the steps to relieve yourself of laziness, not caring, and ignorance. Once you get rid of those, hello.
Amazing. Incredible. Barry, first of all, the amount of words and what they mean is epic, my friend. I think it keeps you young at heart. Plus the swimming. I want you to mention that.
Oh, should I talk about swimming? We didn't even talk about it yet.
Yeah, well, we've done almost an hour of like so much incredible information.
I want to be swimming around the world. I now swim. If you're watching this, you say, hey, Barry, sure, you move, you look like you're perfectly healthy. I am, except I can't sit up from this chair. Yigal, you can sit up from the chair, right?
Correct.
Right. I can't. Now I can push on these arms and so from the waist down, pretty much paralyzed. But I learned in the course of my therapy, took years to do this, but one day I put my arms over my head. It was in the pool because I did aquatic therapy, and I moved and I hit my head against the side of the pool. I said, yay, I moved. I went back and forth. That day, which was November 18th, 2.5 years after I became paralyzed, I swam a mile without stopping. I didn't want to stop. So I was living in Southern California, outdoors, 98 minutes without stopping. I swim a mile. I said, if I can do it once, I can do it twice. I do it twice. So I started swimming a mile a day, twice a week, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. Within another year, I was able to turn over on my tummy. I wear flotation devices on my legs. I have paddles on my hands because my fingers don't close, as you see. I use a snorkel. But I now swim 2 miles a day. Wow. 6 days a week. And I've been doing it for over a dozen years. I have over 8,852 miles under my belt, a third of the way around the world. My goal is to swim around the world. Now, if I keep up 2 miles a day, 6 days a week, I'll be 105 the time I do it. So I decided I'm going to reach out to the most famous swimmer in the world. Who is who? Who's the most famous swimmer in the world?
Michael Phelps.
Michael Phelps. I'm reaching out to Michael Phelps, and I'm inviting him to join me together and with a few other of his friends to each do 2 miles a day, and we'll swim around the world over the next couple of years and raise $20 million, Yigal,
Amazing. For
mental wellness, because there's a lot of people that suffer from mental issues. So I'm going to, God willing, swim with Michael Phelps around the world over the next couple of years. So keep your ears open for it.
Oh, I will. I'm sure you're going to do some even bigger things. Barry, this has been outstanding, and not because you just show up with so much joy, but you explain it in a way that's digestible. It's chewable, and then I can just, for terms, regurgitate and look at it once again, And you're right. I think that we get numb to the miracles that happened, the fact that we woke up today and 1 million people didn't wake up today. The fact that we can walk today, you can't walk, but still showcase that joy. The fact that we can eat, sleep, my mom had a stroke 2 years ago. From one day to the next, now can't speak. So even the fact that you and I are speaking to each other is a miracle, right?
It is miraculous. And to be appreciative of it. That's the beautiful part, to say, oh, I can speak with Yigal. This is so much fun, and we can share with other people. Share stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy.
And I think that's what we need to do more of, is share the joy and the happiness, regardless of the negative Nancys who might be around us, and not dim the light that like you were talking about.
Right.
Don't dim the light. Just keep Care Bear staring even more.
Just envelop them with a hug, even if it's only psychic. If you can't physically embrace them with a hug, just do it mentally.
I love this. Barry, this has been an honor. For those of you who want to learn more about Barry, go to barryshore.com, download the free ebook, which I'm going to do after this podcast. You're amazing, my friend. And I'm sure we'll do episode number 2, because I guarantee there's so much more information that is to be had.
Let me suggest 2 things. Let's do a hug and then give everybody a blessing. You ready?
I'm in.
So hug stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. And our blessing from Yigal and Barry is: go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barry Shore. And Barry, like I say to every guest on the show and everybody listening, may God bless you with more strength and courage so you can keep doing what you're doing and spread joy and spread love and help many more people that you already have. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast, everybody. Join us on the next episode of Tribesmen, and we'll see you soon.